Hey, what's up guys? John here. New York City rents just hit an all-time high.
Average rent in Manhattan climbing to an all-time high in July.
The average rent for a Manhattan apartment is now $5,588 a month.
$5,588 for the basic apartment inside of New York City.
How much do you pay for rent in New York City?
Pay $6,400 a month.
How much do you pay for rent in New York?
$7,500.
In other markets, like Brooklyn, for example, rent's $4,347. In Northwestern Queens, $4,003 average rent. But what I'm going to show you is going to happen next. It's going to blow your mind because it's not just an opinion. It's backed by fact. It's backed by law. This is what's going to happen. And more investors need to know this because I want to help people save money. I want to help people invest well, and I want to help people make smart, well-informed, forward-thinking decisions when it comes to real estate and business. And it's very hard to do that when you ignore the facts of what's actually going to happen here. Please hit the like button. You hit the like button, YouTube will share this content to educate more people about what's really going on. And today's video is sponsored by DoorLoop, but more on that in a little bit. Take a look at this. So these numbers, $5,588, Manhattan, up 9% compared to a year ago. $4,347 in Brooklyn, 12% increase from a year ago. Elman's July market found Northwestern Queens, asking rent $4,003. Well, look at this. This new law that's going to be coming into place in 4.5 months is going to rug pull all these landlords. It's going to be unbelievable to witness. I mean, look, let me just show you the context of how expensive this is going to be and what I mean by rug pulling these landlords. So this here, the city, looming law, right, has co-op and condo owners fretting about funds to retrofit these buildings, right? And you start to look at these costs and you're going to see these numbers. So for example, this building here, this building, Glen Oaks Village, for example, they've already spent $100,000 so far on energy consultants, right? We advise that co-op owners would have to scrape together $24.5 million, a little more than $8,100 per household to replace boilers to get them up to code for 2024. But that still wouldn't meet the 2030 standard. He added, when homeowners would be collectively subject to an estimated fine of about $1 million per year. So their HOA is going to increase 7 to 10%. So 7 to 10% just to pay for the fines, right? Not including the $24.5 million fee. So the big question is, where does that money come from? Well, they start breaking this down, and it's really going to be coming from the public and private sector. So they're going to be raising money, private funds from institutions, from private equity firms. They're going to be raising this capital. It's really going to be like a huge deal for the real estate market. Now, if you're a real estate investor, property owner, or landlord, and you're looking for a better way to manage your property, I want to take a minute and talk about DoorLoop. DoorLoop is the sponsor of today's video. DoorLoop is a property management software that allows landlords, investors, and property managers to effectively manage and operate their properties. Their goal is to simplify and modernize the entire experience of being a property manager, whether it be dealing with tenants, leases, maintenance requests, or even your finances for that specific property. As someone with over a decade of real estate experience, both as a real estate agent in Beverly Hills, a real estate investor, and developer, I can tell you that having an all-in-one platform where everything is happening in one place, it's very simple and easy to use, is absolutely key. Some of the things I like about it personally, it's simple, it's modern, it's easy to use. You're able to hop from one property to the next, do exactly what you have to do inside of the app, and go on with your day. Compared to some systems I've used in the past that are extremely cumbersome and just challenging to use for both myself and employees, some of the main reasons I love DoorLoop. On top of that, there's a Zapier connection that's easy to integrate to over 1,000 other applications. On top of that, they have world-class customer support and an entire team dedicated to allowing you and helping you transfer all of your data from your current property manager to DoorLoop. They handle the entire process for you. In addition, they have a live chat and a 24-hour response time during the week. And if you ever have any questions, there's a team of real people, actual people, not automated messages, real people that will help troubleshoot any problems you may have or answer any questions that you may have. The systems I've used in the past, most of the communication was done via email. And sometimes I'd wait 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours just for a simple response. It's not the case with DoorLoop. They have a real team there to assist. It's just been a great experience. Some other features with DoorLoop that I did want to mention here. You can set up automatic rent payments and collect payments directly online. You can manage listings and manage maintenance requests. Full accounting and a custom website. leasing and screening tools, and so much more. And a mobile app that you can easily use on the go. If you think you can benefit from Door Loop, there's a link in the description where you can book your demo. A New York Post, to go all electric, and this is for another community, Bay Terrace Complex, right? To go all electric, it would cost $3 million just for heat pumps. $3 million just for heat pumps. The fines, right? But to do it, the city demands face gargantuan fines. The Real Estate Board of New York estimates that affected buildings would face more than $200 million in penalties if they can't comply, right? Raising to $900 million by 2030. These are massive fines. So the big question is, when you see these sky-high rents, these huge loans that these landlords have, and these high borrowing costs, mortgage rates going literally from 3% to 7.5%, how can they afford to borrow money against their properties? Many of them can't. When they look at these fines, paying $500,000, $1 million, $2 million a year in fines, that's a massive, massive sum. What are they going to bake this into the rent? Are they going to start asking for $7,000 a month for a one bedroom in Manhattan? I think that's going to be an issue. I don't think that's going to be sustainable. I think that a lot of people are going to be in some really big problems. And it's not just that. I mean, look at this other community. Glen Oaks, home to 10,000 residents, 134 buildings. Let's say, actually, they grabbed this, I think, from the other article. $24.5 million in fines, right? If Glen Oaks made no changes at all, now they're saying it's $1.1 million in fines. So, I mean, this is what's going to happen all across the city, But let me show you this, though, because this is where I think a lot of people don't understand just how big this issue is going to be and where this is actually going. So first, I'm going to show you some of these other cities, some of these other locations, because these policies are going to be happening in a lot of these markets: Miami, New Orleans, Houston, all these different markets, right? And so smart and savvy real estate investors are looking at this, and they're really organizing their expenses. They're really looking at, the money that's coming in. They're really just shopping everything around in terms of cost. They're operating their buildings really to the penny, and they're being smart and savvy about this because they know that they're going to be getting hit with some serious curveballs coming very soon. I mean, all these hot markets where everyone was investing. Phoenix saw so much activity the last few years. I mean, they're all going to be going through these changes. But look at New York. So just for context, New York City, view city profile. You click here, go to networks, go to private building, right here, private building efficiency network, and then you scroll down here, and it says data for policy making decisions, collecting and using building energy data to drive ambitious policy development, understanding how to use data for detailed modeling, right? But encouraging, this for residential buildings, encouraging multifamily and single-family home retrofits by exploring financing schemes for actions and raising awareness, designing engaging campaigns to encourage citizens' actions, deep retrofit, understanding the policies and programs needed for achieving zero carbon building retrofits, commercial, encouraging commercial building owners, tenants, and landlords to take action to develop building tune-up programs fostering retro commissioning in commercial buildings, right? So all this is all New York. And if you look at, who's actually a part of this, you're going to realize this is all 100% going to happen. This is not just, all the mayors are already on board. You look at these names, you start to see these big names, and you realize, this isn't just some fly-by-night operation. This is all going to happen. This is all going to happen. And already right here, if you look right here, cities like New York City, a task force of planners assembling Mayor Eric Adams is studying the effects of zoning changes and possible abatements for developers to include affordable housing conversions. So they're talking also about these office to residential conversions. So landlords are getting hit from multiple directions. One, they're going to have to retrofit these buildings. Two, these retrofits are going to become extremely expensive. And so as they start to look at these office buildings that are underperforming in New York with falling rents, high borrowing costs, high loans, they're going to start leaning much more into these conversions, converting these properties into residential. It's going to be a massive trend. And many people think, it's not going to pencil out, John. People can't afford to do that. Well, if you look at this, you'll start to realize that this is, in fact, what's going to happen. So right here, the need for buildings and infrastructure will only intensify by 2025. We will need to build 1 billion new homes. About 60% of buildings that will exist by 2050 haven't been built yet. This means constructing a city the size of Stockholm or Milan every week until 2050, the size of Singapore or New York every month. right? And you start to see how they're going to do this, implementing and enforcing building energy regulations and mandatory performance standards for existing buildings. So when I see these numbers, New York City, $5,588 per month in rent, I just ask myself, are landlords going to be able to bake these costs in and feed it to the tenant, right? Because that's exactly what happens in all business. Whenever you buy anything, if the shipper, the distributor, their costs go up, their labor costs go up, it gets passed on to the consumer. So if these consumers are already paying $5,588 per month, and the building owners are going to be looking at millions of dollars in costs and fines, are they going to pass this on? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think that you're going to just start seeing a lot of landlords in very, very big trouble, especially when you factor in the fact that many of these commercial buildings are going to start getting converted into residential. A lot more of the supply is going to be coming to the market, and that supply is going to continue to draw rents down. It's going to continue to draw rents down. As rents start to come down, it's going to just put more and more and more pressure on these other building owners. So when I look at New York City, and I look at some of these other markets like Los Angeles and these other areas, I see a massive, massive opportunity of distress. And that's when many people make their money. A lot of the big money is made in real estate when things hit the fan. And when you look at a market like New York City, a very expensive real estate market, or one of these other markets, even Miami, it's extremely expensive, they're all following very, very, very similar policies. Now, many people say, John, you talk about this a lot. And I talk about it because it's so important. It is so important because with building wealth, you need to build wealth. You need to build a game plan, a strategy to create wealth. Because if people aren't paying attention, the middle class is getting completely eroded right now. It's getting eroded right now. And over the next couple of years, it's going to continue to get worse and worse and worse. So making smart, well-informed, forward-thinking investing decisions and being aware of what's really happening is going to help provide value for you and for your family. And that's what's most important. A lot of people out there are talking about real estate investing, pretending like it's 2017, 2018. It's not. The world's changing. It's changing very, very quickly. And I think understanding how these changes are going to impact your investment are going to be extremely important. I'm looking at these changes, and I see massive opportunities, ways in which people are going to make millions and millions and millions of dollars over the coming couple of years simply by being able to buy these properties, buy assets based on the true cost. What I think is going to happen is we're going to start seeing a lot of private equity firms, a lot of investors saying, you know what are the 2050 standards? What does this actually look like? And they're going to start buying these properties and re-retrofitting them and doing all their work to 2050 standards. And they're going to start doing this, and they're going to underwrite their deals based on this. And so they're going to go in, and they're not going to have these costs, these expenses. Whereas other property owners in New York City, for example, that they're just trying to make it to 2030. It's going to be death by 1,000 cuts. They're going to try to make it 2030. They have to try to redo everything again and again and again. It's going to be a big problem, but a big opportunity for those that are aware. What do you think of this entire situation? What do you think about this New York City rents $5,588? That is just so crazy. $5,588 in Manhattan. You think it's sustainable, or you think we're going to start to see some really, really big problems all throughout the city of New York? Drop below, hit the like button, add me on IG, and don't forget to click the link for Duraloop down below in the description. Catch you guys in the next one.